born with the problem of the trachea. He would go from breathing normally to not being able to breathe at all. His trachea would collapse from the littlest of things. A touch in the chest would collapse his trachea. Doctors nearly exhausted every single option to keep him alive, until eventually a doctor from the University of Michigan teamed up with a 3D printing lab and 3D print a trachea splint for the little boy. This procedure had never been done before, so they had to go to the FDA, get approval for it, then go and print it. Once they printed it, they went through the surgery, and the surgery was a success. The little boy lived today. 3D printing is the process of getting a digital file and bringing it into the 3D world by having it printed with a variety of materials, including metal, plastic, organic material. You can also scan an already existing 3D object, like a chair or an apple, whatever you like, and then print that also. According to the January McKinley Quarterly Report, 3D printing has now progressed to the point where it can print complicated mechanics such as LEDs, transistors, batteries. This is going to have a tremendous impact in all of our lives in a variety of ways. To figure out how significant this technology is, we'll first discuss the brief history, the current applications, and where this technology is heading in the future. According to HowStuffWorks.com, MIT was the first place to develop 3D printers. This technology was derived from an additive technology that was used in the 1980s and the 1990s. It's basically, instead of taking away what you don't need, like if you want a pencil, you cut the excess stuff off. You only use the material you need. They later licensed this technology to 6 other companies to continue to develop the technology. 3D printers are available for household use today. You can buy one for about $2,900, which is about the same price as a MacBook Pro. A little bit expensive, but the price is going down. You can print a variety of things, whether it's a bowl, a toy, basically any simple plastic or metal thing you can print. You can also print a gun. It's kind of insane. And also big companies such as Boeing and Nike are using this technology to prototype their designs. Something that used to take them weeks and a ton of money is now being done in a mere couple hours. And just last week, according to CNN, the first 3D printer ever printed a part for the space station in space. This happened literally last week. So instead of shooting a rocket that costs millions of dollars into space, they can now print parts and tools in space at the space station. And also, according to CNBC, prosthetics are becoming more commonly printed than not. So this is a cheaper and more efficient process of going about making prosthetics. They're using this technology in third world countries because it's cheaper and just as efficient. But how does this technology work? It sounds like some sort of magic. How do you make all these devices from a printer? But it's actually a very simple concept when discussed. So first, you get a 3D modeling software like this. And you can create a completely unique object or a already existing one. You can scan it into the software. This software then relays the object to the printer. The printer then analyzes the object and cuts it into hundreds, if not thousands, of horizontal slices. And it gets the material and lays each layer successively on top of one another until the whole entire object is complete. And once the finished product is done, it's one solid object. You can't even tell there's layers. As Barack Obama said, 3D printing has the potential to revolutionize the way we make almost everything. The next industrial revolutions in manufacturing will happen in America. According to LiveScience.com, patients can expect to have 3D printed organs for them in the next 20 years. That means instead of waiting for an organ donation list, you can have one printed specifically for yourself from your own cells. And this is possible because the printers are precise enough to mimic the cell structure and the cardiovascular vessels. And also, according to NASA, they teamed up with a Texas company to research the possibility of 3D printing food for extended space travel. This may sound kind of like out there and like it'll never affect us, but as all new technologies, they're eventually brought down to the consumer level. So in the next 10 or 50 years, whatever it is, we can one day go to our kitchen and say, hey, I feel like a pizza, and print a pizza, which is pretty amazing. And also, with this giant manufacturing influx, China will no longer be the production powerhouse it is today. According to Business Insider, the political leverage they have from manufacturing all these goods will be taken away and brought back domestically. That means that instead of having millions and millions of little toys and trinkets and clothes brought from China, we can build them domestically with machines. 3D printing is a futuristic technology, but it is still in its primitive stages. It's something as simple as a printer that can save a little boy named Garrett's life, can print parts for a space station in space, and maybe even print you a pizza. This technology will and is revolutionizing the